From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
I'm here to fill time because, as everyone knows, when a radio station has dead air, Daddy loses money. Albeit these guys are getting such a deal, Daddy's not losing that much money. So take that, Mr. No Raise in 48 years.
Sports Talk with Phil Kornblum, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk here on Sports Talk Media Network. It is a big Thursday edition of Sports Talk. We are jammed, we are slammed, and we are glad to be with you as we head into another weekend, more football, NFL football, college football. You know, there's a college football game on television pretty much every day now through Thanksgiving. I think I heard the other day. So, hey, you know what? We can never have enough football. It's a pleasure to welcome back into Sports Talk after an absence of a couple of days. We have the one, the only Chris Bergen back with us from the Bergen Palace in Florence. Welcome back. Welcome back. How you feeling?
Well, I appreciate that, pal. Yeah, doing much better. Under the weather the past couple of days, but I appreciate it. I knew you and Pat would hold down the fort without any concern, so I enjoyed taking a couple of days to rest, but back at it. And thank you for filling in for me today up at the Lawrence County Touchdown Club. Hey, I did not get that opportunity, but I was glad you could go in my stead.
Oh, they do a great job up there. We had a blast. It was good seeing a lot of the folks up there. Gene Simmons, the president, the board of directors, he's the president. He did his little tongue thing, you know, Gene Simmons with the tongue thing. He hears that all the time.
I don't see that Gene Simmons into the rock and roll phase.
Yeah. He says he gets that all the time.
But I will say this, Phil, do not challenge him on the tennis court. He nor his wife.
Oh, really?
Who has been the longtime tennis coach at Clinton High School.
Well,
they are rather accomplished tennis players.
That would make sense. Saw our old friends Sandy Crookshanks from up in Clinton, the former Clinton High and PC football legend.
Mm-hmm.
Would we say? Are we being fair there? I think we are.
Not far off.
And your good buddy Buddy Bridges and Harold Nichols, former PC head coach who runs the YMCA there in Clinton. He was there as well. We had a great time, had players from Clinton High and Lawrence and Lawrence Academy. They're all headed to the playoffs. Coach Kelly from PC was there. They do a great job. These clubs, you know, some of them have died out over the years. We don't have one in Columbia. There's not one in Greenville. There's not one in Charleston, I don't think. But we do have them very active and alive in places like Sumter and Anderson and Greer and Lawrence. And I might be forgetting somebody. Those that are doing it, keep it up, man, because the kids, they appreciate the awards that they get, and the folks who are members. I think they enjoy hearing from the different speakers that come in. It was my pleasure to fill in for you. I've been a guy that's come off the bench his entire life, so you know I'm used to having that finger pointed at me and say, hey, get in there for Doohickey. Even though I was like maybe the 8th or 9th guy down the bench, I would eventually get in there. So
I'm thinking I Wally picked myself, quite frankly.
Well, they did say
Lou Gehrig to speak at the Lawrence County Touchdown Club.
They did say they wanted to make it an annual permanent
I don't doubt that.
event. So, no, anyway, we had a great time.
You bring up a fascinating point about touchdown clubs and how popular they used to be and how they've sort of died off over the years. We don't, I think, have one here in Florence County at all.
Yeah.
And part of that is you have to have people and volunteers that make that a priority, make it important. The Chamber of Commerce in Lawrence County, if I'm not mistaken, they get behind that touchdown club, or at least they used to. And you have to have a lot of people that put in a lot of work. As a matter of fact, when I got signed up, when Buddy and Gene asked me to come speak, it was back during the summertime. I had to put it on my calendar just so I wouldn't forget. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how far in advance they plan these type of things to get speakers and organize and get the food and everything else that goes along. It's not something you can throw together in a week. So I admire places like Anderson and Lawrence County and several different places across the state, Sumter, as you pointed out, that still have those functions because it is all about celebrating for the most part. Even though colleges are represented, it's about celebrating high school sports in their community.
Well, I can remember, too, going back into the 80s, that the Greenville Touchdown Club was a mover and shaker in the world of college football. Dan Foster from the Greenville News, the great columnist and a guy that was connected to everybody in the college football world, was heavily involved with that. And they would bring in, this was back when head coaches weren't making 8 and 9 million. They were making more like, 100, 200, 300,000. Still good money back in the day, but they were looking for extra income. And they would go and speak to these various clubs. And I can remember Bobby Bowden coming to Greenville to speak, and Vince Dooley would always come to speak. And, of course, we're talking the head coaches. Now you can't get a major college head coach hardly to do it. I did see where Shane Beamer during the off week spoke in Macon, Georgia at their touchdown club. Around here, the clubs here just don't have that kind of pull anymore. But Dan Foster was the man, and they had a great club. They had a great club up in Greenville. When you were invited to the Greenville Touchdown Club, that was a big deal. Right. And when they handed out awards to high school players and college players, that was a big deal. Everybody wanted to copy and be like the Greenville Touchdown Club back in the day. So that's long gone now. It's long gone. It was held at a place called Vince Perrone's. Remember Vince Perrone's in Greenville?
Actually do not.
Yeah, fantastic place. Fantastic. Big Furman band, family, big Furman people back in the day. All right, so here on a big Thursday, and it's good to have Chris back, and Pat is here as usual, and our phone number, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number here on Sports Talk. We've got South Carolina about to take on Florida on Saturday night in Columbia. You haven't had a chance to really talk about that, so we'll get your thoughts. Can the Gamecocks pull off the upset as 18-point underdogs? Clemson going to Louisville as slight favorites, and can they find some offense? Can the defense maintain its position on the field? One thing you have to be careful about with Cunningham, he's not what you call a premier passer, but he completes big passes. They suck you in with his run, and then he play actions, and he finds a receiver open in the secondary for big play. They're one of the big play teams in the country. Now, their defense is pitiful. This should be a game where Clemson can run the football. If they're blocking, they should be able to run the football in this crowd, control it, score some points. If they don't score 4 touchdowns in this ball game, I'll be very, very surprised because of the porous nature of Louisville's defense. So,
well, Phil, that's been sort of the mantra against Louisville during the series with Clemson. If I'm not mistaken, the last 4 or 5 games straight, the Tigers have put up at least 40 points. Now, I realize those offenses were a lot different than the one we see, but you're right, especially in the secondary. I think this is a game where if Clemson and Dabo's prophecy is going to come true, if they are continuing to make progress that he sees, I think we'll actually see it show up on the scoreboard this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got Chalk Talk coming up at the bottom of the hour with Ellis Johnson and Chuck Reedy. Chuck is on the move tonight. He's flying, but he'll be in a layover situation in Charlotte, so we should be able to bring him in. Mike Morgan, a little bit after 7 o'clock, as Mike is transitioning now to some basketball. As the basketball season's right around the corner. Of course, he did NFL last weekend, and, of course, he'll have some thoughts on the Braves winning the World Series championship. And outside of that, I think we're open for your phone calls. 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. We'll have a full recruiting report for you coming up tonight as well. So your first chance to comment on the Braves winning the World Series.
One of the great stories in baseball, I won't say history, but certainly in the last 5-10 years, what that team accomplished when it got into the postseason. And it's interesting to me watching it as a fan of the Braves, how much different you sort of – I don't know if everybody feels this way, but I don't have quite the the attachment to my pro teams, the Panthers, the Braves, what have you, as I do say, college teams that we follow throughout the year. There's just somewhat of a separation, but watching how excited those guys were when they won the World Series, and for them to be able to, when they lost Game 5, I got really, really concerned and mentioned on this program about needing to win Game 6 because you didn't want to go to a Game 7 in Houston, and Game 7s always are you seem like you favor the home team or whatever sport it is. But for them to go out and get that kind of pitching effort from Max Fried and Jorge Soler being the MVP, and for them to shut out the Astros in Game 6 to clinch it, I thought was phenomenal. And what they were able to accomplish in the postseason. Anthopoulos and that front office deserve a ton of credit. And Brian Snitker finally, I think, gets some of the accolades he deserves because he did a terrific job of manipulating that roster and especially that pitching staff to sort of massage it through the regular season and get it set up where they were successful in the postseason. Look who they had to go through. They went through the Dodgers, one of the top win teams in the league, and then they go through the Astros out of the American League. It was a great run for the Braves. And you juxtapose that, Phil, to what occurred back during the 90s. I'm not sure this year's Braves team could beat any of those teams in the 90s that did not win a World Series. But didn't matter, did it? They accomplished, they got hot when it mattered and did not lose except one time at home. I thought it was a great, great story for Major League Baseball to see the Braves back on top.
And Chris, I'm so glad you're back tonight. I wanted to speak more on the Braves last night, but we both know Corn. As Yankees weren't involved, it wasn't as big of a deal.
I talked about it.
37 seconds. I timed it.
Yeah, it's not true. I opened the show. I congratulated. I said, that's nice that you got 2 of them. Let me know when you get to within like 20 of the Yankees. And no, I recognized it. It's not nice.
I was also telling Corn off air, though. His Yankees are due. I hate to admit it. In the last 2 years, 3 out of the 4 members of our team here at Sports Talk, our baseball teams have won a championship. You and I this year with the Braves, last year Smitty and his Dodgers. So maybe your Yankees are due next year. But, Chris, I wanted to add to everything you were saying was great. That bullpen, A.J. Minter, 8 games, 3.0 ERA, held opposing batting average to .182. Tyler Matzek, 13 appearances, .89 ERA, 24 strikeouts to only 4 walks. Luke Jackson was great. Will Smith, 11 games, 0 earned runs, opponent batting average 139. And how about Major League Baseball ripping the All-Star game out of Atlanta and the Braves just taking the World Series trophy back to Atlanta? Quite a statement.
And to have the commissioner have to come present the World Series trophy to the Braves, I think was totally fitting for them pulling basically got a political move that obviously backfired on Major League Baseball badly, as oftentimes it does when sports gets involved in politics. And for the Braves to finish this off, I cannot say enough good things. And I'm sure Mike Morgan, who's a little bit closer plugged into the Braves, can talk about the job that Brian Snitker did in particular. I mean, Bobby Cox will always go down as the greatest manager, I think, in Atlanta Braves history. But the job Brian Snitker did this season cannot be overlooked.
And you make a good point there with Manfred having to actually hand the trophy to the Braves and their organization. It's kind of like Roger Goodell a couple of years ago when he had to hand the Super Bowl trophy to the New England Patriots after that whole Deflategate saga.
Exactly.
Karma is hell, isn't it? Telling you,
really
that
is.
was
It
bad
really
karma for Major League Baseball, and the Braves got the last. They got the last laugh. Okay, You know what? You took the World Series from us for no good reason. You can't. I'm not the World Series. The All-Star game from us for no good reason. You can't take the World Series games from us. You got to play them in Atlanta, and now the trophy is back in Atlanta. So, Braves came out. In the end, I think the righteousness part of this thing was on the Braves side and the city of Atlanta. So that's good. All right, going to hit a break. Bob Ibach back with us here after the break. You missed it last time. Yeah, we talked. I did plenty on the Braves, dadgummit. We had Bob Ibach on, too, giving you a chance to purchase some Braves commemorative World Series championship stuff. He's coming back in a moment.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
Hey, folks, mortgage rates have dipped to their lowest levels in recent history. And with home values up in many areas, now may be the perfect time to refinance your home. Whether you're looking to lower your monthly payments, free up cash for home improvements, or just pay off your home faster, a quick call to the one and only Stuart Wingo of Ameris Bank could save you money. If you're looking for competitive rates and exceptional service, call Stuart Wingo, 803-319-1777. That's 803-319-1777. You will save money just like I have so many times over the years. You can also visit him, amerisbank.com/Stuart Wingo. Stuart Wingo, the man with the plan for all your mortgage needs.
There was just a lack of Black women, business owners, entrepreneurs, creatives. Growing up, I didn't see that. I figured out that I wanted to be a photographer for women of color. I found my niche and I'm sticking to it.
Each year, the South Carolina Education Lottery raises millions of dollars for scholarships and grants that help students prepare for their dream career, just like Kristen. Your passion is our purpose.
Parents ask, what's the best way to save for college? I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and my answer is always open a Future Scholar 529 college savings account. It's easy. You can get started online with any amount. It's flexible to adapt to your child's college dreams, and you can deduct 100% of your contributions from the South Carolina state tax return. So what are you waiting for? Go to futurescholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. futurescholar.com.
If you are pregnant, DHEC and the CDC strongly recommend the COVID-19 vaccine. The dangers of the Delta variant, increased risk of severe illness and pregnancy complications are too great to ignore. Pregnant women with COVID-19 are at greater risk for hospitalization and for critical care, including ventilation and admission to the ICU. Pregnant women with COVID-19 are more likely to have major pregnancy complications. Visit scdhec.gov/vaxlocator to find a vaccine near you to protect your unborn baby and yourself.
Founders is offering a low-rate mortgage with up to $4,000 in closing costs to full-time hospital employees, honoring your frontline efforts against COVID-19. With no PMI, no origination fee, and no limit on the loan amount, you can't go wrong. Visit founders.com/HEC and apply for your hospital employee choice mortgage today. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply. Institution NMLS identifier number 410646. Founders is an equal housing lender and is federally insured by the NCUA.
Back we are on Sports Talk on this big Thursday night here in South Carolina. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Our phone number, 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. And did you know that since 2002, more than 2.1 million lottery-funded scholarships, such as Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow scholarships, have been awarded to South Carolina students? Learn more about the South Carolina Education Lottery's impact at sceducationlottery.com/education wins. Playing for fun is a win for education. All right, winning the World Series is fun, especially when it's a local team, local to us, like the Atlanta Braves. Anytime we got somebody local doing something big like that, our good friend Bob Ibach joins us from Chicago to tell us about something good that you can get to commemorate that big moment. And Bob is back with us again. Welcome back, sir. How are you?
Hey, Phil and Chris. I have one question before I start talking about this Braves tribute baseball set. Has anyone seen the launching? Has it come down from outer space? Jorge Soler's. I I will remember that when he hit it. I thought first thing I said, well, he swung and missed, and then I see this ball that is literally going up like a balloon over the ballpark in left field at Minute Maid, and I have a couple of friends that live down in the Houston area, and they're still taking a lot of gas over that one.
Bob, there's a great story about that. I read earlier today that there's an apartment complex that sits adjacent to left field at Minute Maid Park. And you can actually sit out on the balcony and look down into the stadium when the roof is open, as it was on Monday. And
Right.
the home run actually left the stadium. The ball landed on some railroad tracks. And evidently somebody was able to retrieve it from there and now wants, what did he say, about $1 million if Jorge would like it back? I think he was joking, maybe partly.
Oh, wow.
But that ball
Well,
is in the possession of a Houston Astros fan.
Well, it reminds me back in the days when they did the tape measure. The first thing was Mickey Mantle. You guys are probably too young to remember this, but I remember at Griffith Stadium in the 1950s. Mantle hit a unbelievable tape measure home run off of Chuck Stobbs of the Washington Senators, and I can't remember his last name. I think it was Red Patterson. Red Patterson, who was the Yankees traveling secretary. He was the guy that invented the tape measure homer. He actually went outside the ballpark with a tape measure and tried to find and document how far Mantle's baseball had traveled. It was well over 525 yards. But then the interesting part of the story was supposedly it landed on into a passing train, and the train took it down another 2 or 3 miles down the track.
Those kind of things just don't happen today now, do they?
No, they don't. No, they don't keep the boxcars open enough.
No.
They're all closed.
All right, what you got for everybody this time?
Okay, we had a great lot of fans called in last night when we were talking about this. It's a limited edition World Series Championship baseball set. You get 3 baseballs made by Rawlings inside an acrylic display case, and it salutes the Braves winning their first World Series since 1995 and their 4th ever in their franchise history. The cool thing about this is it's very limited. Only 2,021 of these sets will ever be produced. I checked in with Nyco Sports about a half an hour ago. We're up to, I would say, almost 70% sold out. So I'm hoping that I know we're going to talk again tomorrow after the parade. I'm hoping that at the conclusion of the show tomorrow, we can announce we've sold everything out. When I give out this toll-free number and website, if you're still interested in getting 1 or 2 of these to make great Christmas or holiday gift ideas, they're only $99. It's going to help raise this money for the Atlanta Braves Foundation. We always tie in a charity from everything we do. You'll get a numbered certificate of authenticity. Everything is licensed, fully approved. You won't be able to get this anywhere else. I mean, we're not being sold near the ballpark in Atlanta. They're not being sold in stores. This is just for the Atlanta Braves Foundation, and we kept it at a really low number, 2,021 sets. Now, they're priced at $99 each. You'll get that numbered certificate of authenticity, and I'll give out that phone number and website how you can participate in this in just a moment. But I do want to point out on the baseball set, the first baseball in there is the official World Series Championship baseball with that logo on it. We have another little section on that same baseball on a different panel. It says Road to the Championship with the scores, the opponents that the Braves faced leading up to the World Series. So you'll be able to see how the whole progression took place in October. Then we have the starting lineup for the Braves in the World Series listed on another panel. And then the final panel on that first ball is a game-by-game breakdown, all 6 games against the Astros, including that 7-0 final on Game 6. The second baseball is kind of a tribute to the 3 World Series championships that the Braves won prior to this. And it's interesting because the first one was in a different city, 1914, when they were the Boston Braves. Then in 1957, they were the Milwaukee Braves. And then, of course, in 1995, when Bobby Cox managed them, They were the Atlanta Braves, and now we've got this one. So you'll get a tribute ball. That's the second one in the set. And the third one is for Truist Park. We have the logo of the stadium where the Braves play. We have a color. It's a color panoramic shot, I guess is the best way to say it. It's an aerial photograph that's put on one of the side panels of the ball.
All right, let me jump in. Let me jump in, Bob, if you can hang on. We got to go to a hard break. You know how those things are. You can't move them. If you'll hang on, we'll come back, let you finish up on the other side, sir. Be right back with Bob Iback and also Chalk Talk here on Sports Talk.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast for you. Overcast, very chilly. A low temperature dropping down to 38 degrees. For tomorrow, the clouds remain. We'll have a high of 58, but no rain expected. For the weekend, get warmer on Saturday with breezy conditions. Mix of sun and clouds, the high is 60. While on Sunday, it looks great. Sunny skies, a high of 66. I'm Kevin Cohn with your On Point local weather.
Hey, Tiger fans, it's not too late to purchase your Clemson football tickets. Lock in your seat for one of our remaining home games by visiting ClemsonTigers.com/football tickets. That's your one-stop shop for tickets, schedule, and game day designations. Be sure and act now as tickets are going fast. So come back home to Clemson, and we'll see you in Death Valley cheering on our Tigers. That's ClemsonTigers.com/football tickets.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. A Russian analyst who provided information for a dossier of research used during the Trump-Russia investigation is charged with lying to the FBI when questioned about his work. A grand jury indictment issued in federal court in Virginia charges a man with 5 counts of false statements. The case was brought as part of a special counsel, John Durham's investigation into the origins of the FBI's probe into ties between Russia and Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. Stocks wound up a mixed bag on Wall Street, but big gains in several technology giants helped to push the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ indexes to more record highs. The S&P 500 added 0.4% of its value. The NASDAQ up about 123 points. Tens of millions of Americans now have until January 4th to get their vaccines against COVID-19 under a new Biden mandate. This is SRN News.
Thank you. Hi, this is Michelle Arnold, your host for Travel Buzz, every Monday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on 100.7 The Point. We're here to make your travel dreams a reality. That's Travel Buzz every Monday morning at 9 on The Point.
Fran Halloran here. What am I looking for when I make a recommendation to you? I'm looking for integrity, ethics, intentionality. When it comes to your mortgage needs, Greg McCoy from Simplified Mortgage Solutions needs to be your only call. There are plenty of national mortgage companies with fancy names and fancy schemes out there. Don't be fooled. Simplified Mortgage Solutions will meet or beat any national lender's proposal. Greg is local, and I love local. Born and raised in the Midlands of South Carolina, Greg will treat you as if you are his only client as you go through the mortgage process. Simplified Mortgage Solutions specializes in conventional, VA, USDA, and FHA mortgages. They can do it all. I trust them, and so can you. I've worked with Greg for a while now, and everyone I've referred to him has thanked me after the fact. Online at simplifiedmortgagesc.com or just call Simplified Mortgage Solutions at 803-722-6044. That's 803-722-6044 and tell them the Money Coach sent you.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
When you're a military veteran with over 40,000 organizations trying to help you, it can be hard to find the right information. That's why AARP brings together valuable resources to help you navigate your options. AARP.org/veterans. With the free veteran employment and fraud prevention resources, caregiving tools and access to discounts, AARP on a mission to support veterans. Visit AARP.org/veterans today.
Keep fighting the spread. Wear your face mask.
Stay 6 feet apart and get vaccinated. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdheck.gov/vaxfax.
Deer season is here and we all want to be successful, but our safety should come first.
A simple way to stay safe is to wear Blaze Orange as you walk to and from your stand.
Probably the best way to stay safe is to wear a safety harness.
Put it on, hook it up to a lifeline, and let the tree keep you safe from a fall during your hunt.
Lastly, always use your binoculars and not your rifle scope to look at and identify things while you're deer hunting. Woods and Water, South Carolina, your host Roger and Taylor Metz want you to be around to enjoy many deer seasons to come.
Just remember, the accident you might prevent, the life you might save, just might be your own.
Okay, we're back on this big Thursday edition of Sports Talk across the state on the Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. In a moment, Chuck Reedy, Ellis Johnson will be with us. Before we get to them for Chalk Talk, let's wrap things up with Bob Ibach, who's talking about the World Series champions Atlanta Braves and this commemorative edition of 3-ball set highlighting and celebrating the Braves' victory. Bob, go ahead and finish up with the details.
Absolutely, yeah. This is the World Series Championship 3-ball baseball set produced by Rawlings, helping out the Atlanta Braves Foundation. They're $99 each. We only have about 700 of them left. We start out with 2,021. If you'd like to order these, you'll get them in time for the Christmas season or for the holiday season. They'll be sent to you. Not to worry about that. So it's a great way to order these. We have two ways you can order them. It's 1-800-345-2868. Again, that toll-free number, 1-800-345-2868. Or just go to the website. You can see the 3-ball set there in that beautiful acrylic display case. Again, it's just one of the nicest things I think Nyco Sports has ever done. It's NycoSports.com, and you spell it NIKCO sports.com. Again, that phone number, 1-800-345-2868. $99 will snag you one of these 3-ball baseball sets, and they look stunning when you put it in your home or your office. So don't delay. Like I said, we've only got about maybe 700 of them left in the collection, and I believe that by the end of the day tomorrow after the parade in Atlanta, these will all be gone.
All right, sir. That's great. Good news. Move those things out. Maybe a bunch of South Carolinians who are Braves fans are buying them. We thank you, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night.
That sounds good. Listen, have a good evening, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
All right.
Bye-bye now.
Bob Ibach. And if you didn't catch the email address or the website, we've got that information for you. So we'll be happy to share it with you if you need it. Just ask. By the way, USC men's basketball playing their exhibition game tonight against Benedict. They'll be tipping off a little bit after 7 at the Colonial Life Arena. And Trayvon Minotes will not be playing tonight for South Carolina. He's got strep throat.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's no fun.
That is no fun at all.
Yeah.
That is no fun at all. And back to Bob's comments, the Nyco Sports situation. Nyco, I couldn't remember how he pronounced that. It's Nyco Sports, correct?
I think so.
But yeah, we actually posted on our Twitter page. If you want to see the picture, because sometimes radio, it's difficult to kind of imagine in your mind, but we did post a picture of that 3-ball setup on our Twitter page at SportsTalkSC, and you can also link from there to their website. And I would not waste time. It sounds like if they cleared 1,300 of those between last night and tonight's, they'll have no problem getting rid of the final 700 plus between now and tomorrow.
I would say so. One more note being tweeted out on USC men. Also out tonight, Keyshawn Bryant. He's been dealing with a knee injury. And Jermaine Couisnard is also not dressed tonight. And so the Gamecocks will be down at least 3 players going into this exhibition game. Of course, their regular season opener is next week against Upstate. All right. Do we have everybody with us? Okay. It is time for another edition of Chalk Talk here on Sports Talk, starring 2 of the greatest football minds ever created. Ellis Johnson on the defense and Chuck Reedy on the offense. Good to have the 2 of them with us. Let's begin with Coach Reedy because I don't know what group number he's in for boarding. He's heading somewhere. If he's in Group 1, first class, we might not have him for long. Welcome, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing great, Phil. Doing great. We're waiting to board. We're good.
Where y'all heading?
Well, we're going to London, and then from London we go to Rome.
I think I heard Rome. Did we hear Rome?
Yeah, we're flying from here to London, and then from London to Rome tomorrow.
Gotcha. Okay, you're coming through a little bit muddy on the phone. Maybe pull the phone away from me just a little bit because it's kind of making it hard to hear. All right, it's good to have you with us. Ellis, how are you, sir? Where are you heading this week? You got anything exciting like that going on?
Doing fine. It's only got an open date, Bill. Middle's not playing at home, and don't have anything I'm going to burden myself with. Just maybe keep back watching football.
There you go. Breaking down film, watching tendencies. Let's start with you, Ellis. Clemson in action last week against Florida State. Thought the defense did a really good job. Held down Florida State's running game and was able to get Florida State off the field late in the game and preserve that late lead the Tigers had. What'd you think of their performance overall?
I thought defensively it was very good. They're not as healthy as they were at the beginning of the year. They've had a tremendous amount of pressure on them every game because of what's going on with the rest of the team. And they just continue to answer the bell. But they get a little worn down, Phil, and if things don't improve in the total picture, it's going to take a toll on that defensive line.
Chuck, offensively, not a great performance again for the Clemson offense overall, though Shipley had a nice day running the football, had the big touchdown run. Uyangalele hit some good balls, missed some open receivers as he has done all season long. How would you judge what they did on the offensive side?
Hey, sorry, Corn. We lost Chuck there for a second. He's back with us, but you might want to ask that question one more time.
All right. What I asked was just your view on the Clemson offense. I pointed out Shipley had a nice day running. Uyangalele still kind of inconsistent throwing the football. What'd you see on the offense?
Yeah, well, I think they definitely took a step forward, to be behind with 7 minutes to go to the game and to have to make a drive, with the help of two 15-yard penalties, which were critical, but, they were able to do that. And so the offense, I guess, for a change, was able to make a drive to win the game instead of the defense having to stop somebody to win the game. So, that was a positive. DJ, I still, critical turnovers. And, the one interception really raised some questions as far as I was concerned. I mean, you just don't throw the ball into too deep coverage like he did. I mean, that was an interception, when he threw it. And then to come back during the week and he said that he was told to throw the ball to Ngata no matter what. And, so there's a miscommunication somewhere between, the coaches and him. You just don't do that. Now, if you've got single coverage and you just want to, you're going to throw a 50-50 ball up and you like your odds there, that's one thing. But to throw the ball into too deep coverage like he did, that's just not acceptable at all.
Would you expect him at this stage of his career, 2 games last year and 8 games this year? That's 10 games under his belt as a starter. Is that something he should be able to recognize at this point, or is it still?
Phil.
Yeah.
Phil.
Yeah.
A high school quarterback should recognize that.
Okay.
I mean, that's something you just don't do. I mean, you just don't do it. I mean, and so, I don't know if he doesn't understand coverage or, as he said, he was told to throw the ball to Ngata. Well, that's a little bit different than what I think that, that they would be doing at this stage with him. I don't think you'd say, hey, we're going to throw to this guy regardless. So maybe there's a miscommunication there. Maybe he didn't understand, but, they need to get that resolved because, you just can't do what he did.
Let's talk about the Gamecocks having the off week, 2 weeks to get ready for Florida. Ellis, what do you think defensively coming out against Florida, a team that can run the football, even though, of course, forget about Georgia last week. Nobody's doing anything against Georgia with any offense right now. Can the Gamecock defense, what kind of things do you think they might have been focusing on during the off week to get their defense in position to be able to handle something that the Gators will throw at them?
Well, I think they've played pretty well over the season on defense field, and I doubt if they did anything, as far as making any major changes. I would try to get some guys healed up, full speed again. Maybe that's some nagging injuries. Probably went back to some basics on certain things and then got an early start on Florida. I think their defense can play pretty well this Saturday, and I think they will. The quarterback thing at Florida is a mystery to me, and I'm not trying to get over on the offensive side too much, but this is what their defense is going to face. In my opinion, Dan Mullen is one of the best quarterback developers in the country over the last 10, 15 years. And he's got a mess on his hands down there, and it's been a mystery to me. He started a kid last week that just was terrible, and he finally went to the other guy, and he had a really good game. So they've got some issues there. And then Chuck can back this up. There was an old joke when we used to coach. You can telephone, you can telegraph, or you can just tell a coach. And it'll get spread around pretty quick. Okay, coaches are about like ladies at a Tupperware party. They talk to each other. There's a little network there, this kind of little phone mafia, if you will, and things spread around pretty quick. And there are rumors out there in the coaching ranks that there's a problem in their locker room. And they don't look like they're playing real physical. If Carolina's going to pull an upset this year and something to kind of lift the juices and get them going, this would be it. So I hope maybe the defense can play well enough to give them a chance to do that, and the offense,
Chalk Talk here on Sports Talk. Chuck Reedy in an airport, and Ellis Johnson relaxing in Columbia. Chuck, the Gamecock quarterback situation, it remains very fluid. I got a feeling that maybe seeing Jason Brown starting at quarterback because Zeb Nolan had a little knee procedure last week, and I don't think he's going to be 100% healthy and ready to go. Not mobile to begin with, will be even less mobile in his current state. So that's something to watch for. A lot of people have been ripping on Marcus Satterfield, his offense. And, of course, they haven't been producing a whole lot, but they've been saying the offense is – outsiders have been saying the offense is too complex because it's a pro-style offense. And Shane Beamer and Satterfield have taken exception to that kind of criticism from people. Can it be too complex in your opinion, or is that just a bunch of hooey?
Well, here's the way to determine that. When you week after week you talk about miscommunication and missed assignments and all of those kind of things, makes you think, well, something's not right. Maybe again, as I've said before, Satterfield can be the smartest football coach in the world, but if the players don't understand and can't comprehend what it is that they're trying to accomplish, it doesn't matter. So you better figure out what the players can do and what they can execute. I'm a Danny Ford acolyte, I guess, and Danny's philosophy was real simple. Give me one play that all 11 guys on offense know what to do, regardless of what the defense throws out there. Give me one, and we'll go play. Once we get one, then let's go get two. But you've got to get the players something that they can understand and that they can execute. That's the bottom line. And getting back to what you said, there's going to be some changes. I think Brown will be the quarterback, and they need to make changes. They need to at least come out of these 2 weeks, with not necessarily a different offense, but maybe some different looks and certainly some different personnel, especially at the quarterback position. There's no doubt that they've got to make a change there, I think, going into this game.
And Chuck, dovetailing off of that with regards to the play at the quarterback position, South Carolina, this is an amazing stat to me. They have not had a 300-yard passing game against Florida since 2007. Now, I realize that's probably not in their arsenal this year, but how much do you believe they need to throw it against the Gators on Saturday just to have a chance to open up the ground game and beat these guys?
Well, I don't think they need to throw it a whole lot. You go back and look at the LSU game. That's what I would, I would do. I mean, and South Carolina's strength are their running backs, and so I would come up with a plan to give those guys a chance to win the game for you. And as Ellis said, the defense has played, fairly well. They've got a chance to keep them in the game, run the ball and run the clock and try something different and mix in play action passes.
And
Phil,
Ellis
we're
on the
getting ready to board, so I'm gonna leave it with y'all.
Oh, have a safe trip. Call us from London.
All right, man.
But don't call collect.
Take
Whatever
care.
you do, if you call from London or Rome, don't call collect.
All right.
Safe
Talk to you
trip.
later.
All right, thank you. Safe trip. All right, go ahead, Chris.
Phil, is that still even an option?
Yeah,
Can people call collect anymore? I'm not even sure that's an option with the
they're over
modern
there,
day mobile phones.
They're over there in a foreign country. No telling what they'll have to do. So,
Ellis, on sort of moving back to the other side of the football with the Gamecocks, you're looking at a Florida team that is so good running the football, sixth in the country in terms of yards per game and, first in yards per carry. If you're Clayton White, can you sell out totally, stick 8-9 in the box and make Florida throw? Because you talked about their concerns at quarterback.
I've kind of leaned the other way. I think the best success is going to be trying to affect the quarterbacks. That's where everybody else is giving them problems. Now, if you can control the running game and harass the quarterbacks, obviously that's what you want to do. But if you're going to tilt one way or the other and see if you can create some issues for them, it's been at quarterback this year. As you say, they can run the football. So obviously you got to somehow control that running game, but they're not going to shut down Florida's running game. I think that they'll probably have much more success trying to affect the quarterback. On the other side, Florida's not been real physical on defense. But one thing Todd comes up with more blitzes and schemes and stuff. He's got a very elaborate blitz scheme. And protecting the quarterback, South Carolina is going to be very hard, if not impossible. So, again, what Chuck said, South Carolina better run the football, and they better run it successfully, because if it turns into a pass situation every other series, they're going to be playing against the win against Florida.
yeah, and you mentioned the pass rush from Florida, and I mean they need some mobility back there. All the more reason that you think Jason Brown will be the guy at quarterback. You can't put Zeb Nolan back there less than 100%, and don't think he's moving around. He doesn't move around all that well to begin with, and he'd really be a sitting duck if he's not able to just if his knee's bothering him and not ready to go, and he can't step out of the way of some of that rush that's going to inevitably be jumping in on top of him. So I would think you would see Jason Brown. Do you think defensively that South Carolina against the quarterback from Florida, I mean, do you think they're going to sit back in some kind of a soft coverage and try and protect the underneath, or would you expect them to try and bring some heat and bring some pressure on those guys?
I would feel like they'd mix some pressure in there, especially early. And it maybe depends on which kid they see first. But one of them's had some problems, with recognizing coverages, getting the ball out of his hands on time. But his mobility's kept him in some situations. But I don't really know Clayton's philosophy. There's nothing wrong with playing some soft coverage early on them. But whatever gives them a chance to at least contain and slow down the running game, and then get those quarterbacks to make some mistakes, whether it's changing up looks on the defensive side or bringing some pressure and hitting those quarterbacks. They've got to find some way to affect those guys if they're going to have a chance to keep them off the board.
Yeah. Couple more minutes with Ellis Johnson, carrying the load now that Coach Reedy's boarding his plane heading to London and then over to Rome. Must be nice to be able to hopscotch around Europe like that. I wouldn't know. What do you think of what's been going on with Georgia and just how dominant they have been? And I know you've looked at their defense probably a few times, and I know they got great personnel, but I mean, not only do they have great personnel, they are obviously executing on defense at a very high level. You don't handle teams the way they've been handling them unless it's all coming together for you defensively.
Yeah, but it does all start with talent. And if what you're running is working, and you don't have to go back and try to find something else, to figure out what can you kids do, then it begins to get more consistency each week. And it's kind of like what we've talked about with South Carolina's offense. It's difficult when you don't have a trigger man. Some of the plays you have are very good plays, and they're called at the right time, and you just can't get them done because you don't have the right players in the right places. Georgia's defense is almost the opposite. The one thing I would say is that perhaps nobody's been able to protect well enough and long enough to exploit the secondary. And they're not bad back there, trust me. But that may not be the strength of their defense, but nobody's been able to run the football, and nobody's been able to keep the quarterback protected long enough to be effective in the passing game. So they're totally good now. I do think the quarterback thing, not to get off on a tangent, they still have a quarterback question in my mind. Maybe not, week in, week out, but when they get to the playoffs, Stetson threw 2 picks this week, and he's had games like that before. And I think when they pulled him 2 seasons ago, you had a game like that that just melted down. So I don't know that Daniels doesn't have some nagging injuries, but they've got to make sure they got the right guy in the center going into the playoffs, and certainly going into that SEC playoff game.
Yeah. You think Georgia beats Alabama?
Yeah, Phil, I think if they played tomorrow, they would. I think by the time they line up, if Alabama's regained a lot of their consistency on defense and their offense continues to be a very productive offense, they've got some advantages in the fact offensively they can produce points. And I know it is not going to be easy against Georgia, but they've not had a problem scoring on most anybody. And if the defense is more consistent than they have been, I don't think you have to just dominate somebody on defense to win a big game. You just got to make critical stops. So I don't give them much of a nod because I think there's a huge difference in the 2 quarterbacks, from Alabama's quarterback and Georgia's quarterback, whoever Georgia picks. That's a huge difference. I still think Bryce Young might be as good as anybody in the country.
Ellis, you've coached at places like Appalachian State and East Carolina and Southern Miss, so you've seen what now is the G5 level. And with the recent college football playoff rankings coming out in Cincinnati, even though they're ranked number 2 in the country, getting a 6 in the CFP rankings, at least the first go around. We'll see how it goes the rest of the year. Do you believe Cincinnati could contend with some of the Power 5 teams? And if not, is there ever going to be a pathway with the lone exception of expansion for G5 members to get into the postseason?
Well, I preface everything I say about the playoff with the fact that I'm not a playoff guy. I've never wished it would come into the college ranks, but it's here. I think we've got a problem just having 4. If you're going to have playoffs, I think you've got to put more teams in. Now, addressing what you just said, I don't think if they're going to get in. I was a little surprised they put them that low. I thought maybe they would let them, let the next 2, 3, 4 weeks end up pushing them down. But they just, they boldly said they don't play the same competition week in and week out. And it's true. But to put a 1-loss Oregon team in front of them surprised me a little bit. Ohio State surprised me a little bit. Alabama, I think they probably could have been in the top 4 with 1 loss. But I just don't see anybody outside of a Power 5 ever getting in a 14 playoff. And if we're going to have playoff, I think that needs to be remedied. Go to 8 or whatever. I don't know about 12. Go to 8, and let's get as many teams in there, and we'll be able to get somebody in the group of 5. I forgot what your other question was.
I think you answered. No, Coach, I think you answered it, because my question was, do you see a pathway if Cincinnati will be the bell cow this year for sure, and they don't get in and run the table and win the American and finish undefeated and get left out? I was going to ask you if you saw a pathway ever for the G5 to get in, with the exception of what you just pointed out, and that's expansion of the playoffs.
Yeah, expansion playoffs are a total meltdown by a bunch of Power 5 schools. And this has been about as shaky a year as you can find, guys. There's hardly any undefeated teams left. You got Georgia, you got Michigan State, who was not very good early in the season, but is kind of banged their way along. And then you got Oklahoma. The biggest thing that surprised me about that playoff poll, they put Oklahoma, an undefeated Oklahoma, at number 8. I don't know how they have a chance, really, to get back up there unless one of those other teams start having 2 or 3 domino effects. Michigan State and Oregon, just start melting down. I don't know how Oklahoma climbs 4 spots.
Well, there's some people who will tell you that Oklahoma doesn't belong because, I mean, they score a lot of points, but they can't stop anybody. And, they would get blown out in the semifinals, as kind of has been the case for them in the times they've been in there here recently. We got to run. We thank you so much. Great job as always. Have yourself a great weekend watching all the football, and we will tap into that fertile mind again next Thursday.
Sounds great, Phil. Always fun.
Always. Don't do anything to damage that fertile mind, Keep it fertile.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Ellis. And we'll be back.
Fertile is not a word I associate with the mind.
We should have cut him off before he said that. We'll be back.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour at townhall.com. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Former President Trump says he played a major role in the campaign for Virginia's governor-elect Glenn Youngkin, who defeated Democrat Terry McAuliffe this week.
I made a call, a tele-rally, the night before the election. I was all on board and made a call, and we had hundreds of thousands of people voted because of that call.
The former president spoke with Chris Stegall, the Chris Stegall Show on 990 The Answer in Philadelphia. Stocks wound up a mixed bag on Wall Street, but big gains in several technology giants helped to push both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ indexes to more record highs. The S&P 500 added 0.4% of its value. The NASDAQ up by close to 1% of its value. The Dow did struggle. It was down a little more than 30 points. Job Creators Network President Alfredo Ortiz is warning it makes no sense for President Biden's vaccine mandate to take effect January 4th.
And so I asked the question, I thought it was an emergency, which is the justification of why they're doing this. Well, I hadn't heard of an emergency that takes, time off for a holiday.
Ortiz was interviewed by the Salem Radio Network. The U.S. trade deficit has reached an all-time high. Here's correspondent Mike Hempen with a look at the numbers.
The trade deficit was just under $81 billion in September, the highest it has ever been. The previous high was $73 billion in June. The deficit is the gap between what the U.S. exports to the rest of the world and the imports it purchases from other countries. The Commerce Department says exports dropped 3% in September, while imports increased 0.6%. Part of the export decline was due to a nearly 16% drop in petroleum exports related to drilling rig and oil refinery shutdowns during Hurricane Ida in the Gulf of Mexico. Mike Hempen, Washington.
More of these stories at townhall.com.
Tell me why Relief Factor is so successful in lowering or eliminating pain. I'm often asked that question. Pete and Seth Talbot, the father and son founders of Relief Factor, tell me they believe our bodies were designed to heal. The doctors who formulated Relief Factor selected the 4 best ingredients, 100% drug-free ingredients that each help your body deal with inflammation. Order the 3-week quick start now. Discounted to only $19.95 to see if it will work for you too. Call 800-500-8384. ReliefFactor.com.
The United States has killed Osama bin Laden.
Hours after that announcement, the White House leaked that it was SEAL Team 6 that carried out the operation. Al-Qaeda placed bounties on the heads of all Navy SEALs. Then just 3 months later, a U.S. Army helicopter carrying many from SEAL Team 6 and others.
Anybody out there? We have a fallen angel. Fallen angel. Roger.
Fallen Angel, Extortion 1-7. The story most Americans don't know. Watch exclusively at salemnow.com.
More testimony today in the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse, charged with shooting 3 men and killing 2 of them at a protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin last summer.
Prosecutors are portraying Kyle Rittenhouse as the instigator of the bloodshed, while his attorneys are arguing that he acted in self-defense. Prosecutor Thomas Binger played video and interviewed Richie McGinnis with the conservative website The Daily Caller, who interviewed Rittenhouse before the shooting.
I saw a lot of people who were medics, some of whom were armed, but not with an AR-15 that I recall.
Kenosha Detective Martin Howard testified that footage shows a protester fired a shot into the air about 2.5 seconds before Rittenhouse began firing at Joseph Rosenbaum. Trial audio courtesy of Court TV. I'm Jennifer King.
The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization says world food prices are the highest they've been since July of 2011. That reflects, for the most part, reduced wheat harvests in some parts of the world, as well as higher prices for palm oil. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com.
The Dennis Prager Show weekdays at noon right here on The Point. Take time for a visit to PragerU. We'll tackle today's issues, interview intriguing newsmakers, do some teaching and some learning together on 100.7 The Point and makethepointradio.com.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. I'm here to fill time because, as everyone knows, when a radio station has dead air, Daddy loses money. Albeit these guys are getting such a deal, Daddy's not losing that much money. So take that, Mr. No Raise in 48 years.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, recruiting coming up a little bit here on this big Thursday edition of Sports Talk. We'll take some phone calls later on. Haven't had a chance to get to any. 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. They're underway at the CLA. Basketball on the men's side, USC leading Benedict 4-3, about 3 minutes in. The Gamecocks started Reese, Carter, Stevenson, Wilson, and Levesque. Of course, we told you about the guys who are out, Cousinard and Minot and Bryant all out tonight. And so we'll keep a close watch on this. Levesque has all 4 points for the Gamecocks at this point. And at this point of Sports Talk, time to welcome in a man always on the move. That's why we call it Morgan on the Move here on Sports Talk, starring the one and only Mike Morgan, who reminds everybody the time to call Stuart Wingo is right now. With incredibly low rates on a new mortgage or refi, you can save thousands by calling Stuart directly at 803-319-1777. Make sure you heard about it right here from Mike Morgan on Sports Talk. Good evening, Mike, and happy World Series championship to you. Did you go turn over a car, set a house on fire, do anything like that to celebrate? Well,
Stadium a while back. I haven't seen any of that.
We missed you there at the very beginning. Repeat your comeback.
Oh, I said we don't do that in North Atlanta.
Oh,
that's not our thing over here. They moved the stadium a few years ago over the old mayor, who's I think might become the new mayor again. I don't know. I can't keep up with
mayors.
The politics around here. But they got no support. The Falcons got their brand new shiny retractable roof dome, and the Braves got nothing. So they moved to North Atlanta, and some of the local media, usually with a pointed agenda, criticized the move. But in fact, it's been fantastic. Anybody that was in Atlanta, and of course I was unfortunately not here. I was calling the Bucs Saints game in New Orleans, but from what I understand, not only was the stadium full and electric, the entire battery, and the battery is something the old stadium didn't have, where it's just a bunch of restaurants and bars and shops. So you've got something to do really all day long in a good neighborhood, in a good area of town. So it's been a win-win-win for the Braves this year. But, specifically on the field, I got to tell you, you and I were doing Braves reports when I first got the gig in Atlanta in 2010, and back then, of course, the Braves were on a good little run that went from Bobby Cox to Freddie Gonzalez, but they just couldn't get over the hump. And then they hit the skids, and promptly we stopped doing a Braves report. It wasn't any fun talking about a really bad team. But then all of a sudden, they got good again. I got to be honest with you. You ask the same question every year around the trading deadline. What about the moves? What do you think? And I told you that they were not going to be any, blockbuster moves, and there weren't. But what there were, it was 4 very under the radar, very calculated, creative moves to pick up Soler, to pick up Duvall, to pick up Rosario, to pick up Peterson. These were cast-offs. These were flawed players that guys didn't want. The MVP of the World Series, Jorge Soler, was hitting under 200 and striking out every other at bat. But the Alex Anthopoulos has been the secret weapon of this whole thing. Got those guys together. They replaced the entire outfield in the middle of the season. They were under 500, and they went on to win the World Series. My point is, it's not the most talented team you and I have talked about during this time frame, but it's the most successful when it mattered, and an incredible finish.
Mike, dovetailing off those comments, now I think Alex Anthopoulos has a more difficult decision, and that's how to retool and keep some of those guys going into next year. What moves do you see the Braves doing with regards to guys like, say, Freddie Freeman, or trying to keep some of those players that they just brought in for this upcoming team and not maybe disrupt some of the chemistry that they built over the last couple of months?
I would be shocked if they don't keep Freddie Freeman, and that means you might have to overpay a little bit, because he is a guy that's been around for 11 years. And typically when you sign a guy at that age and you give him buco bucks, you don't get true value at that point. Just look at like an Albert Pujols, for example. But he is so important. He certainly has some game left in him. He is beloved. I mean, that's the secret weapon of this Braves team all year long. The clubhouse, amazing chemistry. And it starts with guys like Freddie and Albies and Swanson. I don't think they want to lose that. So I think they do whatever they have to keep him. And most of the other key guys are under contract or under control, as they like to say, because they're within that 6-year window before you become a unrestricted free agent. So I think next year's team is going to look very much like the team that just won it all.
Morgan on the move with us here on Sports Talk, featuring Mike Morgan. Yeah, look, I mean, the Braves look good. If they hold it together, they'll be contenders once again. They managed to win a World Series off an 88-win regular season. And so we'll see what happens elsewhere around Major League Baseball. You know, the Dodgers are going to be big players in the offseason. Yankees will as well, and probably the Mets and some others. So we shall see. Turn our attention to football. And you got South Carolina hosting Florida. Florida coming off a pounding, for the most part, second half against a Georgia team that is, beating everybody. So no great shame there. Gamecocks have had a couple of weeks. Feeling is most likely it'll be Jason Brown at quarterback. Third time, maybe the charm for the Gamecocks at quarterback. We shall see. I'm a little, for their sake, a little excited about this opportunity for Jason Brown. Kind of a big kid that runs around pretty well with a strong arm. And, I mean, if he can just get a feel for the offense and play within the offense, he can do some good things.
Now, you need to help me out a little bit. Does he have any eligibility left?
Jason Brown?
Yes.
He does.
Okay.
You
So
mean after this year?
Well, yeah, of course.
Oh, after this year. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I know they're not going to cut his eligibility in the middle of the season. That would just
you
be
played
cool
6
and
games, you're done.
Yeah. I think he does. I'll be honest with you, Mike. I'm really confused with the rule.
COVID year screws us all up.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
I'm really confused about who's
too.
going and who's coming. So
right.
I'm going to suggest that he has more time left. Yes.
Okay. Well, if not, we're going to file a petition to make that happen right here on Sports Talk.
Yeah.
I asked that question because obviously it'd be nice at this point to have a guy that shows you flashes, at least, that you could say, okay, he's got a chance to be a difference maker in 2022. And obviously you're not going to see any more Doty this year, and you've got another guy who was a GA before they pulled him back into pads. So from that standpoint, I'm intrigued. I mean, you know more about the kid than I do in terms of what he might bring to the table. But yeah, I think there's some excitement there. I think clearly what you're seeing across college football, you can be a really talented team, and I'm certainly not saying Carolina is there yet. They've got work to do in recruiting, and Shane Beamer knew that when he took the job. But even if you are really talented, and if you're struggling at the quarterback position, you're going to have problems. You just look, 2 hours up the road, and you can see that. And there's other examples of that in college football this year. So at some point, they have to find solid ground at the quarterback position. And I believe that coaching staff will find talented running backs, which they already have some, more talented receivers, talented players on defense. But you've got to have a quality quarterback in college football if you're going to have success.
Yeah, no question about it. And, South Carolina still searching for something on the offensive side. Defense hasn't been half bad. What about matching up with this Florida offense? And the two quarterbacks, of course, Richardson's dealing with a concussion. Who knows if it'll be him or Emory Jones. They do have a really, really good running game. And you think South Carolina's defense can hang in there and kind of keep this game within reach and the offense punch in enough points to make it close for the Gamecocks?
Well, look, I mean, Florida's got a talent edge. That's obvious. You're talking about a Florida team that was a preseason highly ranked, that took Alabama down to the wire, that was expected to do good things and still might. But the X factor for Florida right now is you've got a coach that has been absolutely raked over the coals by his own fan base, by national media. Some of that, I think, quite frankly, is a little bit unfair. But, But the silliness of assuming that he doesn't recruit in the middle of the season, that's such
Mike,
so stupid.
Mike, I can't think of anything more stupid among SEC media and even national media. I was surprised at some of the national people piling on. Have we reached the point with these people that live on Twitter that they just take anything a coach says and spin it just to create controversy and clicks? You know what? I said when I heard that Florida had canceled the rest of the media opportunities for the week, I applauded them. I said, you know what? Good move, because your people don't deserve access with that kind of reaction.
Well, I think that's part of it. I also think, quite frankly, there's a lot of people in the national, maybe even regional media that simply don't like Dan Mullen. They don't like that he wore a Darth Vader mask at the end of the Missouri game last year, and that he helped prompt what they consider, helped prompt the brawl. I actually did that game. It was a crazy sight in Gainesville last year. Some people think he's been too carefree about COVID. So the way a lot of the national media works now, if they disagree with anything that you stand for politically or something you said or didn't say on an issue, then they're going to use that any way they possibly can against you. I mean, that's what I learned during COVID, is that a lot of the people that cover our beloved sport of college football, that's secondary to them to trying to get their message out. Mm-hmm. And they pick who they like and who they don't like, and they go ahead and they write accordingly and they speak accordingly. So I'm not here to tell you Dan Mullen's a great coach, a mediocre coach, what have. I think he's a great play caller. Is he the right guy for the job at Florida? I don't know. He's gone to 3 straight New Year's Day bowl games. He took them to Atlanta last year. They beat the pants out of Georgia last year. I hardly think he should be on the hot seat, but the way you hear some people talk about it, he's a bum. He's done nothing good, and they need to get rid of him. And he's coaching for his life for the next 4 weeks. I mean, that's out there, and it's insane to me.
It's ridiculous.
But as it pertains to the Carolina game, if his players actually believed that and laid down and didn't give effort, then that lends itself to a potential upset. If they're still motivated and, hey, we love our coach, and they use it as a rallying cry, everybody's disrespecting us, we're gonna go out there and play hard for Dan Mullen. Well, then that obviously would be advantage Florida, because that's the motivation that they need. They can't sleepwalk like they did against LSU. They're not good enough to do that and still win games, even on the road against a South Carolina team that has certainly struggled of late.
Yeah. Understand that Tom Brady has petitioned that you stay away from his ball games in the future. You've called.
Hey, I called 4 of his touchdown passes, and I called the pick 6. But he can't pin the pick 6 on me the 4 touchdown calls were a thing of beauty. And I'm just going to send him that highlight reel, and we'll just edit out the pick six he threw at the end of the game.
And now you got hoops coming up.
Yeah, I do. I've got a couple in the next few days at Alabama and at Kentucky. For a lot of people, those are the top 2 teams in the Southeastern Conference. You know, we're going to learn a lot in the next month or so about the hierarchy of the SEC. Who do we like? Who do we believe in? I think everybody believes that Kentucky is going to bounce back after a disaster last year, that Arkansas and Alabama have emerged as powers, that Florida, LSU, Auburn are still good. Mississippi State could be very good with their transfers. So then that leads to the question, you know, where does the South Carolina fit in?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, don't know. I know this. Frank has been at his best when everybody's counting his team out. So we'll see now, because any publication you read, they're picked in the bottom third of the league. Maybe that motivation will help provide a good bounce back season.
Well, I mean, he has said repeatedly here in the build up to the season that this team is connected, that he's been very close with this team, something that was lacking last year. And he's not blaming those players. He's blaming the COVID and the constant interruptions. They were one of the most interrupted teams in the country because of COVID. I think at least once the season hit, at least 3 shutdowns. And of course, he went through it twice. So I think there's reason to accept a little bit of that as an explanation for the 6-win season. But he's got almost an entirely new roster. 8 transfers and freshmen coming in, joining the 4 returnees. So something like that. It's a made over roster, pieced together to see if they can make something special happen this year. Which, you know, it's a tough thing to do, to bring people together in July and expect them to be on the same page and be able to play the way you want them to play about 3-4 months later.
Yeah, it's kind of the reality of college basketball in today's day and age, of the transfer portal and the grad transfer, guys leaving when they're mediocre college players and they're still declaring early and leaving to play in the G League. I mean, I'd hate to be a coach and have to navigate through all this stuff. I guess that's why they get paid millions. But I would say this: my one kind of cursory evaluation of keys to that team. I know what Bryant is. I know what some of the bigs are. I need to see a bounce back year from Couisnard, because he regressed last year. And you can blame COVID on a lot of things. Everybody had to deal with COVID issues last year. And really, throughout all of that, the teams that we thought would be good were good. The teams that had low expectations were not good. And then Kentucky, for whatever reason, had nothing to do with COVID, had their worst year in forever.
Mm-hmm.
But Couisnard has to show the promise that he did as a freshman. And he is I know Frank loves his toughness. He hit key shots. I remember I called the overtime buzzer beater to beat Kentucky at home a couple of years ago. At that point, Jermaine Couisnard's stock looked like it was ready to soar. And clearly he took a step back last year. It happens. Doesn't mean you can't be better your junior year. And if he is, to go along with Bryant, to go along with all these key transfers, maybe they surprise some people this year.
Going to sell a lot of programs, because people are not going to know these players when they come out to see them. So we thank you as always. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, guys.
As
Appreciate
always,
it. Thanks,
a pleasure. Mike Morgan. Morgan on the move here on Sports Talk. Gamecocks are leading Benedict 26-18, 9:28 to play in the first half over the Colonial Life Arena. And let's see. We've got Reese has 7 of the guys on the court. Reese has 7. Levesque has 4. And Wright has 3. So there you go. Bing. Dave Bing. No, not Dave Bing, but Bing leading the Benedict Tigers with 9. Back in the old days, when the Celtics had the greatest play-by-play announcer in the NBA by the name of Johnny Most. You ever heard Johnny Most?
I have.
Johnny Most. Fantastic. That was a guy, you know, he was like a Larry Munson.
No doubt.
You knew where he stood.
Havlicek stole the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't he the guy who,
But when the Celtics would play the Pistons, or later the then Washington Bullets, when Dave Bing was on those rosters, every time Bing would hit an outside shot, he'd go, Dave Bing, 20-footer, Bing, bang. That's all he would say. And Bing, bang. Because the guy was a great announcer, unlike so many today. He knew how to tell you the story in a few amount of words. That's all he said. Bing, bang. And you knew that Dave Bing had hit another one. So anyway, I see the name
Brevity.
Bing. I think of Dave Bing. I think of bang.
Brevity is the spice of life, Phil.
You wouldn't know it by listening to this show. We got to hit a break. My goodness, we are up against it. Can we get the break in? We're running a little bit behind time. We can't. We can hold it.
Not if you want to do just one. If you want to do two, we could. Otherwise, let's just hold it.
Let's just hold it, as they say. That's what you say to the kids when you're on the interstate. Let's just hold it.
Yeah, but that rest stop was too far away. Dad, please pull over.
We can do recruiting. Can we do recruiting?
We should do recruiting.
Let's do the recruiting report. And then, you know what? We'll open up for phone calls. We hadn't really pushed for any phone calls here this week. We can do that. 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. So the recruiting report is brought to you by Seawells. Hope you can get by Seawells tomorrow as they close out another sensational week of the daily luncheon buffet. Pat, do we know what's on the agenda, also known as a menu, tomorrow?
Roast beef
Friday. Oh, no, not tomorrow.
Yeah, sorry, Corn.
I'll be gone.
Why not?
I'll be gone.
That's a Friday.
I got to hit the road early for Louisville.
But you can't have roast beef Friday on Tuesday, Phil.
Well, I know that. We had roast beef left over Monday, but they changed that.
It all got
Because
eaten
you
up
made
on
fun
Friday.
of him. Yeah, exactly. Because Pat told everybody how good it was, and they didn't want to leave anything in the hoppers.
That's right. On top of roast beef Friday tomorrow, you can also get some of their southern fried chicken, which they do make available every day. It's just that good, as well as their fried pork chops. Then they usually have a fourth kind of mystery meat out there that they don't put on the actual menu. And then lots of sides, lots of desserts. Highly recommend the banana pudding.
Banana pudding's to die for. I mean, it really is. It's outstanding. And you know what? You can get more than one. You can take two when you go through there. Okay, recruiting. If you did not hear our interview last night with Nelson Stewart, football coach at Isidore Newman High School in New Orleans. Note the correct pronunciation of New Orleans. Not New Orleans, New Orleans. That's how we pronounce it. I've been there twice, so I know how to pronounce it. On Arch Manning, the 2023 quarterback, 6'4", 200, who visited Clemson over the weekend, just to summarize what he said, the coach said, quote, I think the thing about Clemson he's been very consistent about has been how welcoming and caring everyone is in the community. It's been consistent since June, since his first visit there. He said that they are as friendly as a group as he's ever been around. It's obviously unique with him. I spoke with his mother, and she said it was great. He loved speaking with Coach Sweeney before the game. He's just a kid who loves college football. He's never been to Death Valley. It was a great environment. He loved the visit, especially his talk with Sweeney. You know, Trevor Lawrence was his counselor at the Manning Passing Academy. I would think that might come back into play at some point in time. And the coach feels like he could step right in and run the Clemson offense the way they are running it. That is his style of offense. He also said this about the decision, quote, he's not in a rush. I think that's very important. He's incredibly mature. He's very thoughtful. I think the goals in the short term coming out of spring practice were to go to camps and see people. I think that now that he's gone through the visits at the stadiums, I'd like to think he'd go back and have some of those pseudo-official visits and really get to talk to the players, see the facilities, meet with the coaches, really talk to them. I think there's definitely one more round of visits before he's ready for that, a decision. Right now, I think he's still a good way away, but I'd like to think maybe by the time spring comes around, he'll be at the point. There's no rush on it. I think he's going to do his due diligence, take his time with this decision. This is a young man that takes it seriously. I think when he makes his commitment, that's it. He's not going to be pulling hats from a table. It's a very big decision that he takes seriously, and when he's ready, he's ready. And he also said he believed that he would return to to Clemson for another visit in the spring when he does that second round of visits, these pseudo official visits. On to other stuff. USC went on a shopping spree Wednesday night, handing out several more offers, including a pair to 2022 prospects. One of those is receiver Camden Brown, 6'4", 205, Fort Lauderdale, committed to Pitt in late June, but he's still looking at his overall options. He made an official with the Panthers in late June. The weekend he committed, he was back at Pitt a couple of weekends ago for the Clemson game. He is scheduled for an official to Florida State next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend. He also has offers from Colorado, West Virginia, and Akron. This season, he has 23 catches, 453 yards, and 7 touchdowns. The second 22 prospect offer went to defensive tackle Jeffrey Imba, 6'6", 305, Independence Junior College, Kansas, native of France. He has taken an official to Miami and has one scheduled for Michigan November 27th. He's got multiple other Power 5 offers, and obviously the Gamecocks are trying to get in there and get a visit from him. We'll give you the rest of the recruiting report after the break.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast for you. Overcast, very chilly, a low temperature dropping down to 38 degrees. For tomorrow, the clouds remain. We'll have a high of 58, but no rain expected. For the weekend, get warmer on Saturday with breezy conditions, mix of sun and clouds, the high is 60. While on Sunday, it looks great. Sunny skies, a high of 66. I'm Kevin Cohen with your On Point local weather.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization says world food prices are the highest since July of 2011. That reflects reduced wheat harvests and higher palm oil prices in some parts of the world. The Rome-based agency said international prices of its sample food commodities basket rose by 3% in the month of October for a third straight month of increases. OPEC and allied oil-producing countries have decided to stick with their plan for cautious monthly increases in oil production, even as prices surge and global economy is thirsty right now for fuel. The OPEC Plus alliance is made up of OPEC members led by the Saudis and non-members led by Russia. It was a mixed bag today on Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed down 33 points, but because of some high-tech companies faring quite well, the NASDAQ was up by 128. This is SRN News.
Thank you. Oh, man, storm's coming. I need to be prepared. Where's my phone? Oh, there it is. All right, here's the Dominion Energy app with Face ID, and I am ready to go. That's right, folks. If those South Carolina storms hit, the new Dominion Energy mobile app is a must-have. So easy to use and convenient to have around. It's not just for power outages. With this app, you have instant access to all of your energy usage, too. Pretty cool stuff. Take it from me. Be prepared this season and download it today. Kevin Cohen here with Tim Hanberry from Medicare Blueprint. So, Tim, it is open enrollment now for Medicare. How does that impact our listeners at the point?
Well, Kevin, now's the time for you to review your Medicare Advantage plan because they can and do change each year. You'll need to make sure that your prescriptions are still covered and at what cost. So what should you do? First, give us a call. We'll ask you a few questions. We'll find out what your prescriptions are and what doctors you see. Then we'll find the best plan for you. We'll do all the work for you. We'll even make sure to show you all the additional benefits you're entitled to.
Yeah, listen, I called Tim and his team, and it's just like he says. We've cut our healthcare costs considerably. So don't waste time. Don't waste this opportunity during open enrollment. Give Tim a call at Medicare Blueprint, 803-708-7405, or find him online at MedicareBlueprint.com. That's 708-7405 or MedicareBlueprint.com.
Southern charm at its best. Our residents live more and worry less. At Oakleaf Village of Lexington, we honor residents' traditions while embracing the present. Our residents receive exceptional care while maintaining their independence. Now that our COVID-19 vaccines are complete, we have returned to 3 meals daily in the dining room, activities, and more social engagement. Call 803-808-3477 and ask how we can save you money. Again, 803-808-3477 or online at oakleyvillagelexington.com.
Every Friday morning at 9 a.m. on The Point, join me, Chad Jordan, and my co-host Larry Jordan for the Palmetto Real Estate Pros. We'll help you out whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just learn all things real estate every Friday right here at 100.7 The Point.
There's never an HVAC expert around when you need one. Enter the field in less than 6 months with the Midlands Tech entry-level HVAC Tech program. Evening classes just twice a week for a seriously in-demand field in famously hot Columbia. Practical, hands-on labs with instructors who work in the industry. Focus on diagnosing and troubleshooting HVAC issues. Scholarships are available. Learn more at midlandstech.edu or call 732-0432. Tell them you heard it on The Point and get 10% off the cost of the program.
Hi, this is Michelle Arnold, your host for Travel Buzz, every Monday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on 100.7 The Point. We're here to make your travel dreams a reality. That's Travel Buzz every Monday morning at 9 on The Point.
All right, continuing here on Sports Talk on this big Thursday night, let's wrap up the recruiting report. So we told you about the 2 offers to the 22 class South Carolina handed out. Some others, Gamecocks offered 2023 defensive back Sandy Zabin, 6'1", 200, out of Washington, and 2023 offensive tackle Javin Williams, 6'4", 285 of Reading, Pennsylvania, and the Gamecocks offered tonight 2023 receiver defensive back Cameron Upshaw of Perry, Florida. Last night, USC missed on a major 23 target. Linebacker Drake Bowen, Merrillville, Indiana, committed to Notre Dame. He also had North Carolina in his final 3. He made a pair of visits to Clemson this year. 2024 quarterback can't read my own writing. Kamari. 2024 quarterback Kamari McClellan, 6'2", 185 of Oxford, Alabama. He plans to visit USC Saturday for the Florida game. 2023 defensive end Montague Rames of Sumter was offered by Coastal Carolina. 2024 receiver Mazio Bennett of Greenville will visit Notre Dame this weekend. Basketball. USC target 6'3", Ashlyn Watkins of Cardinal Newman is set to announce November 17th at her school, according to Lou Bezjak of the state. USC and North Carolina are her top 2. Beaufort native and former Wofford center 6'11" Nick Pringle of Dodge City Junior College, Kansas, committed to Alabama. There's Alabama again. Nate Oates just coming into this state.
Doing a great job.
Taking people. Yeah, Nick Pringle. I remember him coming out of high school, and when he went to Wofford, and
good player for Wofford too.
Yes, he was. But gone to the junior college and trying to move on up, I guess, in his mind, to Alabama now in the SEC. There you go with the recruiting report here on Sports Talk. Update from the Colonial Life Arena, and it is USC 47, Benedict 34. USC 47, Benedict 34, 2:09 to play in the half. The Gamecocks have been red hot of late, hit 4 of their last 5, and they are being led by James Reese the 5th with 15 points. He's 6 of 7 from the floor. Eric Stevenson, he's got 9 points on 3 of 7 shooting. Those are your top 2 scorers for the Gamecocks, who are shooting 44%, 8 of 18 from 3. And, they're 100% from the foul line. That'll make Gamecock fans extraordinarily happy.
When I was thinking, you mentioned Reese and Stevenson.
But you didn't. Whoa! You missed my. You didn't. Let me finish my free throw stat. They're 100% from the line.
Yes, they're 1 of 1.
They're 1 for 1. Now go ahead.
I was going to say though that Stevenson and Reese, 6 of the 8 made threes by those 2 guys. If that duo can continue to shoot like that, I realize exhibitions you can't take too much from that, but nonetheless, it's still making shots. And if those guys can open up the inside, That's what I think Gamecock fans have wanted for years. And Frank Martin has talked always during the preseason. This is going to be a team that can shoot and make shots. Well, so far they've made shots, 19 of 35 and 8 of 18. That's a pretty good start.
47-36. Let's don't forget Benedict's a good Division II program. They're beating the Gamecocks in the paint. This won't make Frank Martin happy. They're down 24-14 in the paint, outscoring the Gamecocks on fast breaks 14-7. So it ain't all good for South Carolina. They have turned it over 7 times, as has Benedict. So they're heading towards halftime. Gamecocks up 47-36. Let's go to the phones for a moment, and we welcome Sam. Haven't heard from Sam in a while. Sam, welcome into Sports Talk. How are you, sir?
Good. How you doing, guys? Hope you guys are doing well and staying safe.
Yes, we are. I hope you are doing the same as well.
Hey, I have a really weird question to ask you, a 2-part question. I spoke with Coach Pat Kelsey this past week. Can I give you the rundown, if it's okay with you?
Go right ahead.
So our first home opener for the year of 2021, we are playing South Carolina State at TD Arena at 7 o'clock. And I want to know are they having concession stands? I know I've been talking about this, but I mean, you can call me Sam the Man, concession stands man. How about concession stands man?
I like that. I like that. Sam the Man, concession stand man, Sam Man stand, concession stand. Yes. I'm telling you right now, with 100% certainty, the concession stands will be open, and you can go and buy whatever you want.
How about 2 hot dogs and the French fries and the Coke?
Yes, I think so, for $116. Yes.
And assuming the college is a Coke supplier, not Pepsi.
Yeah, that too.
Does Pat want to go?
Pat, you want to go to the College of Charleston game with Sam?
Yeah, I'll be there. Just tell me a game. I'll drive down there.
Okay. Just so you know, we have 3 home games this year. We're playing South Carolina State, Lipscomb, and I may say this, University of North Carolina.
We're all coming to that game.
Yeah, that one sounds right up my alley there, Sam. I'm looking now. That's, Tuesday, November 16th. Y'all are hosting UNC, huh?
I just let you know that my sister was at UNC because I'm trying to be really, really careful here. I'm trying to be good sportsmanship, but I'm going to say this. My sister seems going down.
Oh! Well, you better back that up with some, some greenbacks. You got some money you can put on that with her. Little in-family gambling going on here. Not that we support that here on Sports Talk. Don't get me wrong.
Well, I just let you know that would you tell all the fans to come down from Columbia to come see a game sometime? Because last year, guys, during this pandemic, we never seen fans in the stands last year. But guess what? Our city.
That's right. You're exactly right. Sam, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you now. All right. Concession stands are open, and
Hubert Davis is going down in his first trip to Charleston.
He's going down. Gonna show him some South Carolina slap down hospitality.
Fire out of Sam. Love it.
All right, 888-898-2525 is our phone number. We can continue with your phone calls here on Sports Talk. Let's see. It's update the score. 49-39. It's 52 seconds ago in the first. Benedict's hanging around. 49-39. South Carolina is leading Benedict. We go to Billy in Somerville. No, I'm sorry.
Billy in Surfside Beach.
Oh, Surfside Beach. Billy, other Billy. Hello, Billy. Welcome in. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Phil?
Not much. How you doing?
Billy.
Hey, I've got a quick question for you. If Clemson wins out, think about Wake Forest with the college football playoff release last night, number 9. If they beat North Carolina, I know and I've got them actually picked to beat North Carolina. And Clemson, as I think as Chuck Reedy said, I mean, and Clemson's going to be more talented than everybody they play for the rest of the year. So let's match up Clemson and Wake Forest, Phil. in Death Valley with a 32-game winning streak, 33-game winning streak, because they're going to be UConn, which is one of the worst teams in Division One. My question to you guys is, who would you take with Sam Hartman? Because Wake Forest will score a lot of points. Who would you take out of Clemson and Wake Forest if they're maybe sixth in the country? And if they do beat Clemson and they snap the winning streak in Death Valley, it's a two-way question. Who do you think wins out of that game? And do you think Wake Forest would have a shot to make the Final Four playoff, being an ACC champ? And I'll take questions off there. Good job, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, pal.
Nothing. We'll take the questions. You'll listen to the answers. It would be a major slap in the face of the ACC if their champion goes 13-0 and doesn't make the playoffs. Now, Wake Forest is 8-0. They got North Carolina. This is a non-conference game, by the way. This North Carolina game is a non-conference game. So they play North Carolina. Let's say they win. That's 9-0. And then they finish up with NC State, Clemson, and Boston College. Last two on the road. They got a tough road to hoe. But if they win out, let's just say they win out, and then they beat Pittsburgh in the championship game, 13-0. I mean, beating North Carolina and beating NC State and beating Clemson and Boston College, and three of those on the road, winning 3 out of 4 on the road to close out, really has got to open up some eyes to the committee and to the, well, not necessarily the national pollsters. That's not that important, but to the committee. But considering they're number 9 right now, they're going to need some help. They're going to need some people to lose ahead of them or play poorly and win to where the committee thinks they're worthy of moving past some people. So,
and they can't have Alabama beat Georgia in the SEC title.
No, that would be
then the
trouble
SEC
for a
gets
lot of
2 in.
people. Yeah, that'd be trouble for a lot of people. Yeah.
But
So-
and Phil, this is crazy to think, but beating Clemson on the road is not really going to help them, because you're talking about the only team they're going to play from now until the end of the season, assuming, and things could change. But if the CFP rankings were to stay stagnant, the only team that is ranked inside the top 25 that they're going to face is Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but besides all that, I hear you. The committee, they're human people. That's redundant. They're humans. And Clemson still carries a big name. Clemson is still a marquee name in that ballroom in terms of you beat Clemson, you've beaten somebody. Even though Clemson is down a little bit this year, I still say in that ballroom, boy, Wake Forest went in there and beat Clemson. Ran the table, beat Clemson. That's like beating Alabama for the few times that happens. I think that carries a lot of weight with the committee.
But I think also, just to follow up on that, that would carry a lot of weight. But then how many of them, the human people in there, are going to say,
human
people? This is Wake Forest. What are we talking about?
Well, that's
here?
true.
This is Wake Forest. They don't belong in the playoffs.
That's like talking about Cincinnati, But Wake Forest will have a better resume than Cincinnati.
They will.
If they both went out, they're going to have a better resume than Cincinnati. Well, yeah, they will. Cincinnati will have beaten SMU, a ranked SMU, and then a ranked Houston.
Top 10 Notre Dame on the
Notre
road.
Dame,
Don't forget about that.
Yeah. Let me go back here and check something real quick before I stick my foot into my mouth. Wake Forest, well, they don't have a win over a ranked team at this point.
Right.
And then beating North Carolina will not solve that. Beating NC State will. There's only one ranked team on their schedule. That's NC State. So, you know what? Maybe Cincinnati's resume is better, despite the fact one's in the ACC.
Right.
All right, we got to get to the break. We're going to miss all our breaks tonight, and that won't make Smitty happy. Smitty would be very unhappy if we played no commercials in this hour. I mean, we're not commercial-free sports talk just yet. We do like running commercials and helping our sponsors get people buy their services and products. So please listen closely and follow up and do that, and let them know you heard it on Sports Talk, just like Mike Morgan said. You heard it on Sports Talk. And we'll be back in a moment.
We've got Major Billy Downer with us here from the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer, hunting season is upon us. How do we stay safe in a field?
There are 3 rules that every hunter should follow when they're hunting with a firearm. Number 1, treat every firearm due to respect a loaded gun. If you treat your firearm as if it's loaded, you'll always, number 2, keep that muzzle pointed in a safe direction. And number 3, when you decide to pull the trigger, make sure of your target, identify it, and know what's beyond it in case you miss.
And remember, life's better outdoors. Visit dnr.sc.gov for more.
All South Carolinians aged 5 years and older are now eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. For help finding a vaccine location in your area, visit scdhec.gov/vaxlocator or call 1-866-365-8110. COVID-19 vaccines are free and don't require ID or insurance. Visit scdhec.gov/vaxlocator or call 1-866-365-8110 to find a vaccine location near you.
Save like a pro with Founders Federal Credit Union. Founders Loyalty Select account gives you the opportunity to grow your savings at our best rate yet. Fund your account through your favorite Loyalty Select product to get savings today. Not a member yet? Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Life, it has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsiblysc.com.
Hi, I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and I've got a great gift idea that requires zero shopping, the gift of college savings. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan makes it easy. Grandparents, friends, and family can all contribute to a Future Scholar account and know that they're providing a gift that will last a lifetime. If you're looking for the perfect gift this holiday season, look no further. Learn more about the smart, easy way to save and give this holiday season at futurescholar.com.
The Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology, known as SIMT, is ready to meet your 3D printing, machining, and social media listening needs. Our list of clients includes business and industrial partners from around the state, the nation, and the globe. In addition, we are providing social media listening services to a variety of businesses and educational institutions, from large companies to law firms to small rural school districts. The SIMT also rents space for training, conferences, and trade shows. Catering services are available for events being held at the SIMT. We are dedicated to customer service and look forward to serving you. Check us out on the web at simt.com to see a full list of our manufacturing services, or give us a call at 843-413-2740.
Every day, you make choices that protect your family. At Farm Bureau Insurance, we're here to help make some of those choices easier. Your local Farm Bureau insurance agent is on hand to provide the reassurance and protection you need. Call today for your free no-obligation review for auto, home, and life insurance that's custom-tailored just for you.
Call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, covering Lawrence, Clinton, Joanna, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
South Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Southern Farm Bureau Casualty Insurance Company, Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi.
They're at the half, 54-39. South Carolina leading Benedict, and Reese with 17 points. Only Gamecock in double figures, and Bing Bang has 11 points. Only time. Nope, I take that back. McCoy has 11 for Benedict as well. Gamecocks are shooting now 56%. Got hot down the stretch. Benedict at 47%. Gamecocks are perfect from the foul line. They are 2 for 2. Jamie Chadwell getting ready for Georgia Southern, Chris.
Yeah, tomorrow night, or excuse me, Saturday night, 6 o'clock. This is one of those rare times when the Gamecocks, Chanticleers, and Tigers all play at virtually the same time this season. But the Chanticleers would travel over and face a reeling Georgia Southern team who comes in at 2-6 overall, 1-4 in the league, and in the midst of having fired their head coach back in September, now replacing him with former Southern California head coach Clay Helton. So who knows what the Chanticleers may be walking into in a tough place to play over in Statesboro. And here is what Jamie Chadwell had to say yesterday about their matchup with the Eagles.
We've had a pretty good week here of preparation so far. We got a much needed win obviously last week, and got a very quality opponent that we're playing, one that we struggled with down in Statesboro. They do have some good talent there. They obviously lost their coach and got a new coach, and who knows will be coach from this week. But they have a lot of talent. They got a lot of pride, a lot of tradition in that program, and so we have to go out and play extremely well and play our type of game in all three phases. There, it's a tough place to win, and it's one thing in this league, if you don't go play well, anybody can beat anybody, and so we understand that. We know that. We know the challenge that we're facing there. But I like our mindset so far. I like how we practice with some purpose so far this week, and a good energy. And we got to continue to do that. Through the day and the rest of the week to have good confidence going into that game Saturday at 6.
Coach, first question from both Gabe McDonald and Charlie Cross. Can you provide an update on Reese White as well as any other injuries in the injury front?
Yeah, Reese will be out. I don't know when he'll be back. I mean, that was an ankle injury. Ankles are tough to come back from, especially if they're high ankle. It could be 2 weeks, it could be longer. We just have to see how the rehab goes, how his ankle responds to the treatment, the different things that he gets. But he's definitely out this week. Jordan Morris, who's been out for a while, he's back practicing. One of our defensive backs, and he's a big on our special teams. He's back practicing. He'll be probably a Thursday decision whether he can play or not. He's coming off of an ankle injury as well. And besides that, right now, we got some guys that got some banged up here or there, but nobody we're anticipating not playing as of right now. We got to continue to have some good treatment and those things, but everybody's trending to where we should be good to go Saturday.
Next question comes from Ian Brooking. The last few games versus Georgia Southern have been highly competitive matchups, including a triple overtime loss 2 years ago down there. What have you been telling the guys this week leading into Saturday's game?
Well, our guys know the importance of it. They know it's the next step that we're trying to get to, and what we're still out there playing for, obviously. And we've had very physical games, tough games with them. I think they were, if I'm not mistaken, we beat them in 17 here, and then they beat us 2 in a row. But they after 18, since 2019, we've had tough physical games where both teams have played extremely well and played tough. And so our guys know it's going to be a physical battle. They know the challenge there. They know that it's hard to win down there. And so the main thing that you do is, I think it's easy when you can look at a record, you can look at, this team's struggling because they're not winning as many games. But I think you got to look beyond that. You got to see that how a team plays, and are they still playing hard, and they still have the good players, and Georgia Southern does. And so if we go down there with a mindset, we're just going to show up and win, then we're going to come back here to Conway with a loss. And so our guys understand that and understand that mentality that we need to have to make sure we have really good preparation for this game.
Next question comes from Gabe McDonald. Have you noticed any true differences in their scheme, both offensively or defensively, with them?
Not much. They still doing what they're doing. I think offensively they don't run as much option pitch stuff as much as they normally have. They more hand it off, but that's, I think, probably because how people are playing them. They're very similar in their schemes, very similar in their styles and their mindset. They pride themselves on being a blue collar type program, and you see them play it the way they play hard, they're physical, and so and he's got them playing at a high level. They won the first game, and the second game they played well, but the last couple of games they've played well. They've not won them, but they played well, and they're in games. And they had a great chance of winning the game last week there, and just couldn't get it done. So they're playing. You can tell for each other, even though they didn't have a permanent coach.
All right, Jamie Chadwell and the Shots heading down to Georgia Southern on Saturday. See if they can continue to build on this new winning streak, which I guess stands at 1 after the loss to App. They beat Troy. Are they going to know how to handle playing on a Saturday? I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, you
That's
even
a
called
great
yourself.
point.
You had the feeling they were playing tomorrow night. It's crazy.
That's a great point. Their first Saturday game since October the 2nd. It's almost hard to believe the Louisiana Monroe was the last time the Chanticleers played on Saturday. They've had no luck over in Statesboro, so I don't guess it matters what day they play.
Mhm.
They're 0-2 lifetime over there and 2-5 against Georgia Southern. Now, these were pretty good Georgia Southern teams they have faced in the past. Not quite as good this year, especially in the midst of a coaching turmoil and turnover. So you would think the Chanticleers would go over there and take care of business, but it has not been a very friendly place for them.
How important is the loss of the running back to the offense?
I think Reese White's going to be a big miss on a lot of different reasons. Good ball carrier, but he also catches the ball and blocks pretty well out of the backfield. So I think that's a big loss for them.
Okay. That'll do it. We'll have coverage of the USC Benedict exhibition game on our website, post-game comments from Frank Martin, Gamecock players. Otherwise, have yourself a great night. Enjoy everything. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow night on the road somewhere to Louisville. Have a great one.
Someone will be right with you.